So who is winning West Bengal? That's one question in everyone's mind.
226 ক্রস করব 2026-এ। মানুষ যে বিপুলভাবে ভোট দিয়েছে আমার তাদের প্রতি পুরো ভরসা বিশ্বাস আস্থা আছে।
हम प्रचंड बहुमत के साथ बंगाल में शुद्ध रूप से भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार बनाने वाले हैं।
What if I tell you I know the answer? What if I tell you the answer is here? Stick with this video till the end to know the real answer. Are the exit polls the winner or Mamata Banerjee? So Bengal election is over, but the excitement is far from over because the results are not out and the wait seems to be too long. Never mind, in few hours from now, we will have the results. But exit polls are some parallel universe. They come out even before the final voter turnout is out, and the news channels were this close to announcing the entire cabinet and move on to some other pressing stories like Manipur. Oh my God, so much energy we have invested after one election. Instead of covering Manipur, let's turn to facts. 92.9% voter turnout, the highest in Bengal's history since independence. People stood in lines for hours, yet no one is shouting slogans on the streets after election. In 2024, during Lok Sabha election, I vividly remember after first two phases, BJP had taken out victory rallies even before the third or the fourth phase. But now, even after most of the exit polls have given them a clear edge, yet they are silent, and so is Trinamool Congress. Why? No loud chest thumping, just quiet determination? Friends, the fact is, this is not a normal election. This is the first time since 2011 Poriborton that Bengal is voting under a completely changed electoral map. And the reason this election feels easy to predict on the ground, but impossible for exit polls to nail. And that lies in four silent forces that no pollsters can fully capture. Today, we try to decode them. No exit poll numbers, just cold, hard ground reality. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The SIR factor, the revenge voting factor. Meet Rahim Ali from Murshidabad, a family of four. All four had voted in 2021, in 2024, but this time, 3 names gone. Only one left on the list. This is the story of lakhs of families across Bengal. The Election Commission's SIR has deleted nearly 91 lakh names. That's 9.1 million voters, almost 12% of the entire electorate. Some were dead or duplicate, but over 27 lakh were struck off under a new term called logical discrepancy. Over 4.5 lakh names deleted from Murshidabad alone, like Rahim's family. 3 deleted, 1 left standing. Now ask yourself, that one surviving voter, what is he thinking when he walks to the polling booth? He is not silent. He is not silent anymore. He is angry. Will he vote for the party that backed this massive purge, which is BJP at the center, or will he vote against it? This is SIR revenge voting. People were quiet for months because they were scared that if they speak up, their name might disappear next. But on polling day, that fear flipped into anger. High turnout is not just enthusiasm, it is the sound of the silent voter finally speaking. In phase 1 and phase 2, the queues were longest in exactly those areas where deletions were the highest. People came out to protect their vote and to punish those whoever they blame for trying to snatch it. This is why this election feels different. The voter list itself became the biggest campaign issue. Like Rahim, meet Shopna Mondol. She is a Hindu and married to a family that has migrated from Bangladesh during partition. She is the sole person from her in-laws' family who had gone and cast a vote. Her husband, her father-in-law, her mother-in-law, and even her brother-in-law all deleted. Her husband has a passport, yet deleted. Now she is a Hindu. What do you think she must have thought before pressing that button on EVM machine? Even she was silent. বর স্বামী বর শ্বশুর মশাই ওনারা কিছু বলেছিলেন?
না কিছু বলেনি, ওরা কেউ আসেনি, ওরা সবাই বাড়িতে রয়েছে।
আচ্ছা, তা আপনি যখন ভোট দিতে আসলেন তখন বলেছে কিছু যে আমাদের হয়েও দিয়ে
না না, বলেছে ভোটটা ঠিক জায়গায় দিতে।
ঠিক জায়গায় দিতে।
আমরা সরকারের ভোট ব্যাংক, এবার আমাদের রাগ করাটা স্বাভাবিক যে এতদিন ভোট দিলাম, এবার বিধানসভা নির্বাচনে আমরা ভোট দিতে পারছি না, এটা সবচেয়ে একটা কষ্টের ব্যাপার।
One pollster, we'll name him later, said he can't predict Bengal election because voters are silent. Yes, voters are silent, but why? In phase 1, 152 seats went to polling. The total deletions there were 18 lakhs. Guess how many people came extra to give vote this time? 24 lakhs. So the deletions got neutralized by fresh votes, if not first-time voters. Why do you think the migrant workers would spend their hard-earned money, come to Bengal? Because they were angry, fearful of losing their right to life if they miss out voting this time. And they too were silent? Voters were silent, but the silence could be heard and read. In phase 2, amongst 142 seats that went to polling, there were 12.9 lakh voters who have been deleted overall. You know what? 33 lakh extra votes came on phase 2. That's how voter turnout is historic. It is not because the total voters have come down after SIR from 7.4 crore to 6.8 crores, but because more people came out and voted, which is excellent. Chapter 2, the Matua factor. But just not Matua factor. Matua factor vis-a-vis the Muslim factor. Let's talk about numbers, the actual numbers. Now, Muslims were hit the hardest in absolute terms, over 31 lakh deletions. But here's the twist, the analyst had missed out. Most deletions happened in Muslim majority districts like Murshidabad, 64% Muslim population, Malda. Inside those seats, the percentage share barely shifts. The remaining Muslim voters are still consolidated and still vote the same way. Their reduction doesn't flip those seats. But now, look at the Matua belt. Matuas, the Nomoshudra community, largely Dalit Hindus who have migrated from Bangladesh decades ago, influence around 60 to 65 assembly seats in Bengal. In phase 2 alone, there are 21 Matua-dominated seats, where margins between Trinamool Congress and BJP were thin in 2021. In those exact seats, deletions have been brutal. In places like Gaighata, Bonga, Bagda, up to 1/3 of voters in some booths simply vanished, deleted from the list. These are BJP traditional strongholds from 2021. The community had swung heavily towards them because BJP promised them citizenship through CAA, the same law that was passed by BJP in 2019, but the law was implemented 5 years later, right ahead of Lok Sabha elections, and that too with stringent documentation work. So many could not apply, and many did not get the certificate, and now they are deleted from the voter rights, a right that belongs to legitimate citizens. So they who lost citizenship in a country they were born in, they belong to, would obviously now fear if they have been betrayed yet again. Anger is boiling. Local BJP workers in those areas, they themselves are complaining. And Trinamool Congress quietly telling those Matuas, look, they deleted your names, not us. One deletion in a close Matua seat hurts BJP far more than 10 deletions in a safe Murshidabad seat. This is the Matua backlash, silent but lethal for the party that was counting on them. Such is the pressure that Prime Minister Modi had to spell it out Don't worry, after BJP comes to power in Bengal, your citizenship will be given on a fast-track basis. Why didn't you give them now? Why didn't you give them till now?
हमारे किसी भी मतुआ परिवार, नाम शूद्र परिवार, शरणार्थी परिवार को तृणमूल से भयभीत होने की जरूरत नहीं है। जो भी धर्म के आधार पर हुई प्रताड़ना के कारण, मुसीबतों के कारण, अपने धर्म के प्रति स्वाभिमान के कारण भारत आए हैं, मोदी उनके साथ खड़ा है। बंगाल में बीजेपी सरकार बनते ही सीएए के तहत नागरिकता देने का काम और तेज होगा।
People generally don't vote twice over one same promise. But Matuas have been voting for BJP since 2019 Lok Sabha election because they trusted BJP and they were hoping that they will get citizenship through CAA. Then they voted again for BJP in 2021 Assembly election, then again in 2024 Lok Sabha election. So there is a possibility that they will vote again for BJP because fundamentally they are pro-Hindutva, as they have fostered the feeling of anti-Muslim after what they have seen in Bangladesh during the time of partition and when they were ousted from their own homeland. But if SIR deletion is a double whammy for them, if that is what they feel, then their anger may go against BJP for the unfulfilled CAA promise. Let's sample not 24 Paraganas. There are 33 seats. 13 of them are Matua dominated. Of those 13, BJP won 4 and Trinamool Congress won 9 in 2021 Assembly election. As Lok Sabha election happened in 2024, of the same 13 seats, BJP won 5 assembly segments, which means they bettered their number only by 1, even when Prime Minister Modi himself was on the ticket. And guess what? After SIR, 1.77 lakh people, mostly Matuas, have been deleted in those 13 seats of not 24 Paraganas. Now, it's nearly impossible to say that those who have been deleted are all Trinamool Congress supporters or BJP supporters. But when a community is hurt, the feeling of hurt absorbs all, irrespective of which political allegiance or whichever party they have their allegiance to. It's like, I'm a Matua, I can vote today, but because my another Matua brother has been deleted, what if they do the same thing some other time with some other issue with me in the future that may hurt me and all of us? So if BJP loses 8 to 10% vote share there in those 13 seats due to Matua upset, then they may lose their deposits. But if TMC loses, then they will lose at least 3 more Matua-dominated seats to BJP due to their thin margin in 2021. Let's talk about another sample. Muslims less than 20% and Matuas close to 30% or more. Now, there are 21 such seats in Bengal. 8 of them are in Nadia. BJP won all 8 in 2021 Assembly election. Now, 3 years later, when Lok Sabha election happened, the same Matuas this time had voted for Prime Minister Modi, but BJP still lost 2 seats. BJP was leading in 6 assembly segments, which means Matuas have started to shift. Now imagine if they would shift further after SIR deletions, or will they shift further after SIR deletions? Here, an 8 to 10% swing due to the deletions can make BJP lose at least 3 of those 6 Matua-dominated seats to Trinamool Congress, where they were leading in 2024 Lok Sabha elections. Again, by that same brotherhood logic. But yes, having said that, there could also be a Uno reverse moment. BJP has tried very well convincing them that their names have been deleted because of faults done by officials who are state government officials engaged by Election Commission of India for the SIR exercise, and that they have deliberately messed up their forms in order to aid Muslims, as they attribute Mamata Banerjee's vote bank. So if Matuas have bought that theory because they have a strong anti-Muslim feeling, then a 8 to 10% swing as a pro-SIR vote will upset Trinamool Congress in at least 5 seats, and BJP can then win once again all 8 seats where Matuas are more than Muslims. Chapter 3. The women factor, the Mahila factor. The biggest story of this election may not be the final result, it may be the women voters of Bengal. Because despite voter list deletion controversies, documentation issues and political tension, women have come out to vote in higher numbers than men. And this is a major political signal. Data from the first 2 phases show that in both the phases, women turnout was higher than male turnout. In phase 1, women turnout stood at 92.69% compared to 90.92% for men. In phase 2, women recorded 92.28% against 91.07% for men. Combined across both phases, women turnout touched 93.24% while men stood at 91.74%. These are record participation levels. So why does this matter so much? Because at the same time, around 9.1 million names have been deleted, as I told you, in the first place after SIR, and nearly 62% of those deletions were women. That means more than 61 lakh women have been affected. Many analysts believe women were hit harder because of marriage-related issues, name change issues, migration, address mismatch. Yet, despite all of that, women still turned out in larger numbers. That changes the political narrative. It means the group many assume would be discouraged has instead responded with stronger participation. This is not just a turnout story, it is a story of political determination. In 2021, women were considered one of the strongest pillars of support for Trinamool Congress and primarily Mamata Banerjee. Welfare schemes like Lokhir Bhandar, Kanya Shri and Shastro Shati helped create a strong women vote base.
আমি আগেও বলেছিলাম, এখনো বলে যাচ্ছি, ডিটেনশন ক্যাম্প করতে দেব না। ওরা নমশূদ্র বিরোধী, ওরা মতুয়া বিরোধী, ওরা তপশিলি বিরোধী, ওরা আদিবাসী বিরোধী, ওরা শ্রমিক কৃষক বিরোধী, ওরা বাংলা ভাষা বিরোধী। বাংলার মানুষের গায়ে হাত দিতে দেব না। আর মতুয়াদের অধিকার কেড়ে নেওয়ার চেষ্টা করবে না, তাহলে আমার থেকে ভয়ঙ্কর হবে না।
The key question now is whether that support remains intact in 2026 and especially for Trinamool Congress. But the BJP has also understood the importance of this very bloc. That is why they have now promised a similar scheme with 3,000 rupees of financial support every month to women. Both sides know one thing clearly. Women voters can decide the election.
बंगाल में बीजेपी सरकार हर साल 36,000 रुपये बहनों के खाते में जमा करेगी। आंगनबाड़ी हो, अन्य महिला हेल्थ वर्कर्स हो, उनके वेतन भत्ते को लेकर भी बंगाल बीजेपी ने बड़ी घोषणा की है। इतना ही नहीं, बंगाल बीजेपी ने बेटियों को सरकारी नौकरी में 33% आरक्षण देने का भी भरोसा दिया है। यानी बीजेपी की डबल इंजन सरकार का बंगाल की बहनों बेटियों को डबल फायदा होगा।
Another crucial point. There are 39 constituencies in Bengal where women voters outnumber men on the electoral rolls. Many of these are urban and high turnout seats in Kolkata, South 24 Parganas, Howrah and Hooghly, places like Jadavpur, Behala, Tollygunge and Vidhannagar. In close contests, these seats can be shaped by women voters alone. So how are we decoding this trend? This is not an exit poll, as I told you. We are looking at 3 indicators. Number 1, gender gap in turnout. Number 2, seats where women voters are numerically stronger. And number 3, marginal seats where a women-led swing can flip the result. When these 3 factors are combined, one conclusion emerges. The most silent but powerful force in Bengal 2026 is the women factor, the women voter. And the final takeaway is simple. If anyone becomes the real kingmaker of this election, it may not be a party leader or alliance. It may be the women of Bengal. Now ask yourself, who do women relate to more, Mamata Banerjee or Prime Minister Modi? If you know the answer, you may also know who is winning Bengal. "2019 was the moment Bengal politics looked like it was turning. The BJP surged to 18 Lok Sabha seats, Trinamool Congress dropped to 22, and many believed that the 2021 assembly election would bring regime change. But Bengal voters drew a sharp distinction between Delhi and Kolkata. In 2021, Mamata Banerjee-led Trinamool Congress back with a thumping majority, 215 seats, while BJP was restricted to 77 seats. Trinamool Congress's vote share was around 48%, while BJP finished near 38%. That result proved one thing clearly. When Mamata Banerjee herself is on the ballot, the contest changes completely. Then came the 2024 Lok Sabha election. Once again, it was a direct Trinamool Congress versus BJP fight. And once again, Trinamool Congress emerged ahead. This time, when Prime Minister Narendra Modi was the face of the campaign. Trinamool Congress's vote share rose to 45.77%, up from 43.7% in 2019, while BJP slipped to 38.73%, down from 40.6% in 2019. Yet, when you convert these Lok Sabha votes into assembly segments, the picture becomes more nuanced. Trinamool Congress leads in 192 assembly segments, BJP in 90 and others in 12. That means Trinamool Congress was down from its 2021 assembly peak but still comfortably ahead, and BJP improved its assembly footprint in belts like Hooghly, Jungle Mahal, Purulia and parts of Western Bengal, while Trinamool Congress made gains in Nadia, Jalpaiguri and some border districts. So again, a quick recap. In 2021, BJP was 77, but in 2024 Lok Sabha election, when you distribute that in assembly segments, BJP from 77 had gone up to 90, and this time with Prime Minister Modi on the ticket. In 2021, in Nadia, Trinamool Congress was 8 and BJP was 9, an election when Mamata Banerjee was on the ticket herself. Listen carefully. And in 2024, the assembly segment study shows that in that BJP stronghold, that is Nadia, there was a downfall. BJP lost 3 assembly segments to Trinamool Congress when Prime Minister Modi himself was on the ticket. So yes, while BJP may have expanded ground in pockets, but Trinamool Congress retained the statewide advantage. Now, the real 2026 battle rests on 3 social blocks: Muslim, women and DBT beneficiaries, that is direct bank transfer beneficiaries. Women and minority voters have already been discussed. Now let's focus on DBT, and that also includes your women, that also includes young people, first-time voters, and that also includes Muslims. Now West Bengal now has 3.09 crore DBT beneficiaries across 130 schemes. You have heard many a times Mamata Banerjee saying, or literally flaunting, that when it comes to social security schemes, West Bengal tops the chart in this country. The flagship Lokhir Bhandar scheme alone covers 2.2 crore women. Now it started at 500 rupees to 1000 rupees in 2021, was increased to 1,000 to 1,200 rupees before Lok Sabha election in 2024 and has now been raised further to 1,500 rupees to 1,700 rupees ahead of 2026 assembly election. Add old age pension scheme, widow pension scheme, disability support, Joy Johar, Toposhili Bondhu, Manobik scheme and the newly introduced Jubo Shati scheme offering 1,500 rupees to unemployed youth under 40. Now this creates a massive welfare voting base. Women, elderly voters, first-time job seekers, young women, rural families. If even 60 to 70% of this DBT class consolidates, it strongly benefits Trinamool Congress. You may ask how? Out of 100 people you have spoken with, mostly women, mostly young people, 70 of them have claimed to have received some or other social security scheme benefits, social security schemes by the state government, and 70% of them were happy with these schemes. They wanted them to continue. Yes, there is anti-incumbency after 15 years, especially in urban areas. But anti-incumbency needs a fresh issue and a strong social coalition. BJP's challenge is simple. Hindu male voters alone may not be enough. To cross Trinamool Congress's wall, they need women and a slice of minority or welfare voters too. And that is where 2026 Bengal election may finally be decided. Clear example. In 2021, Trinamool Congress had 48% vote share. Now, if you divide that 48% vote share, say suppose 25% are Muslims. You had another 23%. Now you're saying that 5 years down the line, there had been more Hindu consolidation benefiting BJP. Fair point. Let that happen. But if that 25% of Muslim population or Muslim consolidation stays intact, and especially in this SIR fear environment, do you think Trinamool Congress cannot pull in another 20% of vote share? 20% of vote share from the huge chunk of Hindus? Do you think 100% of Hindus would consolidate against Trinamool Congress and would go only to BJP? Because if that becomes the case, then the scenario changes. If that does not become the case, then the scenario cannot change much. That's exactly the point. And going back to anti-incumbency, you know what? Social study says people generally vote on one issue once. If people are angry on one particular issue, they vent their anger in one election. They don't repeat that emotion in election after election. Now that can have multiple interpretation and the argument can vary. But in 2024 Lok Sabha election, we had seen that Trinamool Congress went to town saying that BJP had stopped funds for West Bengal, funds meant for the poor of West Bengal. And that, in a way, was shown as betrayal to the people of Bengal. People went in mass and voted against BJP. See, if that logic stands, this issue is not an issue for 2026, even though the situation hasn't seen much of a difference. Even though Trinamool Congress still says that central funds are blocked. But will people go and vote on that same issue again? May not. Well, Trinamool Congress is not touching that issue much. And Trinamool Congress could be seen only and only focusing on SIR. Let's talk about 2024 Lok Sabha election again. Prior to 2024 Lok Sabha election, there was a huge surge in public anger. On which issue? Teacher recruitment scam. That was a burning issue at that point in time. People were hurt. It literally hurt homes, middle class homes. 26,000 teachers lost their jobs because of an order passed by a Calcutta High Court judge who later joined BJP. Nonetheless, teachers rendered jobless. So public sentiment was against Trinamool Congress. Matter went to Supreme Court. Yet, if people had voted on that very issue and against Trinamool Congress, then that anger has already been went out in 2024 Lok Sabha election. Will people repeat that same emotion? Social pundits and political pundits say may not. Because while that issue had been a burning issue, which even saw the arrest of Partho Chatterjee, former Trinamool Congress minister very close to Mamata Banerjee, yet after that incident came to fore, there had been two elections, Panchayat election and Lok Sabha election. And in both elections, Trinamool Congress turned victorious. So this time around, we haven't seen BJP going to town on that teacher recruitment scam issue. Left did, but BJP did not. Are you saying there are not any other issue? No issue that is against Trinamool Congress? Obviously, there has to be issues. If a government is in power for 15 years, there is bound to be anti-incumbency. That's natural a phenomena. But how much? How much of that anti-incumbency has been neutralized by these social security schemes? Let's understand. After 2024 Lok Sabha election and before 2026 Assembly election, there has been one major issue which could have been a turning point. Yes, you guessed it right, the RG Kar issue. As soon as RG Kar happened, the entire state had united in anger. People were frustrated, and that frustration saw a window, and that was the RG Kar issue. The issue was of rape and murder, but then we also saw allegations of corruptions in folds coming with the RG Kar issue. And people again started venting out their anger primarily over allegations of corruption. The RG Kar issue was a big one, yet it got diluted with time, and especially with the advent of politics into the issue. If you ask social and political pundits, well, there could be multiple issues contributing to anti-incumbency against Trinamool Congress, but between the period of 2024 and 2026, there had not been another issue parallel to RG Kar which could have dented Trinamool Congress, their image, and also their political fortunes this election. However, as I said, with time, the RG Kar issue got diluted as people realized politics had been consciously injected there by some or few. And that brings us to the larger question. Are the exit poll numbers then convincing? To the final chapter, the exit polls. The Bengal exit polls are out, and once again they have triggered the same question. Are these polls predicting the result or trying to shape the result? Because this time one name is missing. Pradeep Gupta and Access My India, one of India's most high-profile polling agencies, has refused to release a Bengal number. Yes, the same axis that gives numbers for states across India, the same axis that has confidently projected Tamil Nadu, Assam, Kerala, but Bengal? No response. Suddenly there is silence. They are saying silent voters are the main issue, the reason why they cannot predict the election. And that is where this story begins. What does silent voter really mean? Axis says Bengal voters are not responding openly. But Bengal did not begin yesterday. If an agency has spent months in the state, if teams were there on the ground repeatedly, if surveys were attempted across districts, then silence itself becomes data. When voters avoid answering, distrust surveyors, refuse to disclose preference, or fear their information being misused, that is not absence of data, that is a political signal. And historically, in Bengal, silent voters have often heard the side being loudly projected as winner. Pradeep Gupta, during an interview to Rajdeep Sardesai on India Today, he said they could not spend much time in Bengal. Well, insiders say that they have spent roughly about 4 to 5 months in the state. At least there were 10 instances where their people were arrested, right? Because people suspected their behavior, suspected their survey and complained. People suspected because in February 2025, Mamata Banerjee had warned of multiple agencies funded by BJP, have now been unleashed by BJP for Bengal elections, and that they might come to your doorstep to inquire. She had asked people to guard their data and opinion, because now whoever has the data can use them to win elections. For example, over 2 crore women are beneficiaries of Lokhir Bhandar scheme in Bengal. Now imagine if BJP gets that data and then they starts reaching out to them, starts marketing their scheme every day, that BJP will give them 3,000 rupees instead of 1,500 that they are getting in Lokhir Bhandar, there could be some impact. And where will BJP get this data from? After some agency does this survey for them, right? So when Axis team was doing the survey, rural villagers suspected their behavior and thus in at least 10 occasions, their people were arrested. Still, they have spent 4 to 5 months. Let's remember the record 2021 Bengal Assembly election. Many exit polls projected BJP crossing 100, some even threatening power. For example, ABP News C voter said Trinamool Congress would get 152 to 164, BJP 109 to 121. India Today Access My India had projected Trinamool Congress 130 to 156 and BJP 134 to 160. Times Now C voter Trinamool Congress 158, BJP 115. Republic TV CNX gave Trinamool Congress 128 to 138, BJP 138 to 148. News 24, today's Chanakya, they gave Trinamool Congress 169 to 191, BJP 97 to 119. What was the outcome? Actual result? Trinamool Congress got 215 seats and BJP was restricted to 77. Similarly, in 2024 Lok Sabha election, all the projections were giving BJP a big edge over Trinamool Congress. And the outcome, the actual result, Trinamool Congress 29, BJP 12. BJP fell down from 18. Let's quickly juxtapose some of these projections from some nondescript pollsters. P-Mark gave Trinamool Congress 152 to 172 in 2021, gave BJP 112 to 132. The reality was Trinamool was 215 and BJP was 77. That same P-Mark has given BJP 150 to 175 this time and Trinamool Congress 118 to 138. Where's their credibility? Some say they are like freelancers in Tamil Nadu, that too in some communication team. Some even indicate that some of these companies who have conducted these surveys are instrumental in betting operations. Tell me honestly, why do you want to know predictions when the results will come out any which ways? So the predictions are meant to benefit some and some way, or else why will this business operate and run and survive? Why did Axis stay silent? There are several possibilities. Possibility number 1, BJP sweeping Bengal. If so, releasing that number would create headlines instantly. So silence becomes strange. Possibility 2, Trinamool Congress clearly ahead. Then, releasing it damages BJP's momentum and national messaging. Silence then becomes understandable. Possibility number 3, data is too messy to defend. That is also possible, right? If refusal rates are high, if urban and rural responses conflict, if women voters are not speaking openly, then any projection becomes risky. And possibility number 4, reputation risk. After major misses in 2024, another high-profile wrong call could damage their credibility badly. I remember Pradeep Gupta broke down on a national channel, on a national TV. Why? Because he went terribly wrong in 2024 Lok Sabha election. Thus, what is the safest poll? No poll. So the question is, are exit polls just entertainment? That is the deeper issue, because exit polls can influence market, share market, media narrative, cadre morale, counting day confidence, perception of inevitability. If one side is told all night that they are losing badly, morale drops. If another side is told victory is certain, energy rises. That psychological effect matters, especially in close elections. Why is Bengal different? Bengal repeatedly punishes lazy national templates. Many voters here do not disclose openly. Many women voters decide privately. Many local equations are invisible to Delhi studios. And Bengal often votes emotionally, not mechanically. That is why spreadsheet politics fails here. Final question. If pollsters are so scientific, then why no full disclosure? Where is the sample size? Where are the booth locations? Where is refusal rate? Where is gender split? Where is weighing model? Where is margin of error by region? Without that, these are not science. they are television products. So when you see Bengal exit polls, don't ask who is winning, ask who benefits if you believe these numbers before the counting day. Because on the counting day, only one poll matters, the ballot box. Oops, the EVM machine. I told you, I'll tell you the numbers, and I'm sure you now know the numbers. Thank you so much. Jai Hind. Satyameva Jayate.